Good morning, everybody. This is another installment of Sean Newton Does Pen Stuff. What kind of pen stuff? Today we're putting a piston filling pen together. We've got all these parts. This is the middle part. It's made out of metal, and it goes in the back of the barrel. It's reverse threaded, so lefty tighty, righty loosey. I use a little baby wrench to tighten it in there with. Remember, lefty tighty. And then you put the other parts together. On the inside the piston knob that's going to go on the back of the barrel, there is a little black plastic coupler. It's already been glued in. So I'm just going to put I'm going to put this thing here. It's got a knurled bit at the end that fits inside this coupler like that. So that way when this turns, this also turns, and it makes the piston actually go up and down. It's pretty cool. So we're going to put that in there. And we're going to screw it down almost, not all the way, but we're going to screw it down until we can just almost see that last thread on the metal middle bit. So we're going to be looking for this thread right there. All right, so we've done that. Now, I've got some silicone grease on a card with a toothpick. I'm just going to put a little bit inside the barrel, just like you would with a Pelican or any other piston filling pen where you need to service it. It needs grease every now and then. If it's not greasy, the piston can actually stick to the inside of the barrel. I believe they call it stiction. That's the technical term, stiction. I like to grab the piston head by the very front, just ahead of the first O-ring with my fingernails. So that way I'm just barely holding it. I look inside. There's a rectangular hole in the front of this middle part that this rod fits into just one way. That way it doesn't spin as it's going up and down. Because if it were to spin, it would just spin in the barrel and not go up and down. So I'm going to find the little rectangular hole. I'm going to put this in there, wiggle it around a little bit. There we go. Give it a little push. And when you give it a little push, it's going to be sticking out just a little bit. I like to push it in and then turn. Now, you can see it's not tight all the way. That means I've got the piston mechanism in a little bit too much. I've got the piston and rod. I've got this part in too deep. Let me see. So what I want to do is pull it out a little. Screw this just a little bit, tiny bit more than I had it. Not a lot, just a tiny bit. And then do this again where you get the piston shaft in the shaft into the little rectangle hole. There we go, like that. And then now it screws down tight. You can hold it up to the light. On some of these you can see through the barrel just a little bit, and then you can see if the piston head is back far enough. I'm going to try to get this one by I'm unscrewing and pushing against the piston at the same time. And then, yeah, that's a little bit deeper. That means I'll get a little bit more ink in there in a fill. And I get more travel, more up and down travel. And it'll go all the way out to the front of the barrel here. Now I'm going to use a little bit of silicone grease on the barrel to section thread join. This doesn't act as glue at all, but it sort of does. By using silicone grease here, when you tighten it down, it makes it really tight. because you're able to slightly, I don't know, over tighten it? I don't know. What do you call it? It's a sealer. It seals ink from going out. It keeps air from going in. All right, and then you give it a little extra twist. If there's any grease sticking out, you can wipe it off, but I didn't see any. And then if you have a nib unit, you put your nib unit in here. Here's a number 8 nib, a big Y, and that's that. Then you can say, bam, ink it. Pretty cool, right? And then if you're putting the rest of the pen together, which I am, I like to put a little silicone grease on the cap finial threads too. So that way, if you have a really wet, drippy, goopy ink, I know some of you out there with your crazy inks, all the shimmer and glitter and sheen and shine. Give me some regular old blue. Just blue. Doesn't even have a name in front of it. Sometimes I'll even go crazy, I'll use black. Alright. But that keeps ink from seeping up these threads and coming out by the clip. Which, before I started doing this, happened every now and then. Give it a little tight down. Get a little wipe off because some silicone grease squeezed out, which is okay. And then you wipe it with the softer cloth to make sure it's all clean. And then, bam. Yeah, that's a piston filler pen. And that's how you put it together. How do you take it apart? You do all that stuff backwards.